Good morning, English language learners. I am Arham and today we'll be looking at a new vocabulary lesson. Today's video is a two-part video series in which we will, in the first part, be looking at weather words and enhancing our vocabulary in relation to weather words. And the second part, which we will be looking at later on, is basically about time words. And then in the second part of the series, we will also be wrapping up and trying to conclude both the areas of weather and time words. It's a good idea at this point that you download the worksheet that is with this video and you also print it out so that you can look at it either simultaneously or after you have heard and watched the video. Alright, I will be helping you complete the worksheet, looking at some of the vocabulary words with you and just taking you through this entire lesson. So I have the worksheet on me right here. Part A of it looks at weather words. Now these are some general words that you may find familiar or not, but they relate to weather. So we have 20 words on the list, of which I will give you some of the meanings. Blizzard, as you are aware, is when there's a lot of snowfall, quite violent snowfall. A drought is when the weather gets very hot and there's very little rain. Since there isn't rain, so there aren't enough crops growing. Visibility is the idea of how well or how far you can see. So imagine yourself on a dark and foggy night. You perhaps would have very limited visibility. We also have the word flurry. The word flurry has to do with a spurt of rain or snow, and try and relate it to the word hurry. So flurries are always in a hurry, they come for a short period of time. A zephyr is basically a gentle breeze, a soft wind. We have gales, gales are very strong winds. Gusts, similarly, gusts, you can have a gust of rain, you can have a gust of wind as well, but they are very strong. Cold snap, dry spell, hot spell, heat wave. These are all interconnected words. Some are antonyms, some are synonyms. Spell, snap, or period, wave, they are just signifying that it's for a short period and it's also an unusual occurrence. Alright, then we have, again related words like downpour, drizzle, deluge, scattered showers, and perhaps from our own mind we can think of torrent or trickle. So these words tell you how much there is rain or how little rain there is. For example, deluge means a lot of rain all of a sudden, and it can cause flooding. So usually the infrastructure is not so that it can withstand deluges, and there is often flooding that takes place. Alright, we also have the word hailstorm, which is related to the idea of hailstones. And hailstones, they fall, they're little pebble-like, stone-like, snowy balls. And thunderstorms, I think this is the most famous one, when you have thunder, lightning and rain, as the Macbeth sisters said. So thunderstorms also take place with some rain and lightning. Alright, the last two that we can look at are tornadoes and whirlpools. Tornadoes are vacuums or air pressures that form in the air, and you've seen them, they're these conical, cone-like shapes of air, very violent, very aggressive, very catastrophic. And whirlpools, however, are the same thing, but they are in water. So that is the only difference. Alright, so that is what our weather words or part A is all about. You need to write the meanings of these. If you don't know the meanings of these words, it's a good idea for you to look them up. The last word, I'll leave that as a challenge, meteorology. Ology means a study of. So you can kind of put two and two together that what this might be the study of. Okay, part B is basically, you may have seen weather forecasts that come on TV. The weatherman, he basically, tells you that this area is sunny, this area is cloudy, and there are universal symbols to show certain ideas. So a lot of rain, there is a symbol. For a sunny climate, there is a symbol, so on and so forth. You can make your own here. That's technically what they're telling you to do. But if you can't, then why not have a look at what that weather looks like. So we have some interesting ones here. We have humid, sandy, inclement. Inclement means merciless. So something that is merciless would be inclement. So an inclement weather would be harsh weather, merciless weather, not very pleasant. At this point, I also want to just give you another challenge, which is that there is a difference. I keep saying weather, but lots of times I could be meaning climate or I could be meaning weather. There is a fine line between these two ideas. Usually we use them interchangeably, but there is a difference between the two. Maybe you have already chanced upon this in geography, in your geography lessons, that what is climate, what is weather. If you haven't, why don't you have a look at this? Alright, part C is something that I want you all to maintain. It's very nice in creative writing when you have a task to do, you have to write a story. You can always make use of this list. So we have some basic categories of weather, for example, hot, cold, wet, stormy, snowy, and you can find out synonyms. A few synonyms you may be able to just see from part A. A few you might have to use your own knowledge or look it up in a thesaurus. So I can give you a few. For example, for hot, you can have scorching, you can have sizzling. For pleasant, you can have mild or temperate. There's a very famous sonnet by Shakespeare here, which perhaps we can see and we can try and even have a look at that. It's all about a summer's day. You may be familiar with it. You may have studied it in literature. Alright, part D is just a basic brainstorming on other types of natural disasters. So when we talk about weather, sometimes it is closely related to other natural disasters. So for example, if you have a landslide, it could be because of the fact that there is a huge gale, a lot of wind coming our way, and so there is the landslide. So maybe it's a good idea to also enhance our knowledge or our vocabulary in this area, and that's why we have part D. Alright, part E is now similar to one of the earlier parts, but this time it's specifically for natural disasters and storms. Now the whole purpose of this exercise is for you to kind of think that, and in fact, for that matter, E and F, exercise E and F are related. So you want to be thinking, or you should be able to appreciate what is the impact or the aggressiveness of these natural disasters. For example, are monsoon rains worse than maybe a tropical storm, or is a windstorm worse than a dust storm? And so when you do a little bit of research on this, you might have better knowledge and you may be able to look online for pictures, for videos, and then part F would be where you put them in some sort of order, right? So most aggressive on top, least aggressive at the bottom.